it's a Tamiya kit, a really nice Tamiya kit. But, you know, have a really careful look as I turn it at the color, because it looks like just a green tank, doesn't it? Okay, I mean, it's just a green tank. But if you have a careful look, if we do that and get a close-up focus, you can see that there are areas on that tank that are light green. There's some red areas. If you look very carefully, there's even a touch of blue in there. Okay, and I'm quite happy to pass this around. Actually, let's just pass around this one, because you can't break it much. Okay, and then you'll actually see that that this is what the oil dot technique does for you. The other nice thing about the oil dot technique is you can use it to do streaking or blotches, and you can do things which will help you even with doing oil streaks. The technique is basically really simple. It's easy to do. Anybody can do it. But please, before you start, would you please get yourself some of this? Okay, this is Tamiya gloss varnish, and that is the matting agent. Okay, right. You mix these together 50-50, then you dilute it, okay, with thinners. Okay, the idea is that you airbrush whatever you're going to do the technique on, and you get a nice thin lacquer coat of acrylic, please, not enamel, not lacquer. It's got to be acrylic, and your model has to be fairly sealed. That's the stage where I've got to with this one. So we've got a model here that has been painted. Okay, it's already got color variation in it. If you see the color variation in there, I've done that by first spraying it green, then taking the green paint and then adding yellow to it, and then in a random pattern spraying over it. So we've already got some color variation there, okay? But now we're actually going to change the color, right? And change the color very easily. What you need to change the color with is this, okay? It is ordinary oil paint. Okay, the ones that I prefer the best are Winsor & Newton. Okay, now, the color is not particularly, you know, you're going to listen to this and you're going to say, gee, this sounds all very variable, because now it's not going to tell us what color to use. And I'm not. Make up the colors as you go along. Experiment. You'll find the colors that you like. The weirdest thing is, if you're doing this on green, a bit of red or a bit of orange really works well. Blue doesn't work so well. If you're doing yellow, say your tank is a yellow tank, blue works quite well, which is just weird. You can use pure white. It's not a good idea to use pure black unless you're trying to get a specific effect. Say you're trying to do an oil stain or particularly something like that. Okay, so the other thing that you need for your technique, yes?
Would you use the black for exhaust stains?
No, I do exhaust stains in a different way. Okay, I don't think this technique is actually specific for things like exhaust stains. It's not for that. This is just to change your color, and particularly to change your background color. Also, the reason that I'm passing that particular tank around is that I did the oil dot technique on that, and I used it for a demo before, because I haven't gone over that again as I would with many models with, say, something like pastels, or maybe even an overspray of dust or something like that. So on that particular model, you can actually see the oil dot technique. Okay, right. These Winsor & Newton oils, if you buy them now, they're pretty expensive. If you have a look at some of my oils, that one is round about 32 years old. And I'm going to use it now. Okay, so the oil paint will last you a long time. You can buy little tubes now, tiny tubes, but it's got to be the top quality artist's oil paint. Don't buy the water-based one. Don't buy anything else. What you want to do now is you want to do oil paint just like Rembrandt, and believe it or not, just about all impressionists used variations of this technique as well. Okay, so the next thing that you need is brushes. Okay, have a look at my beautiful brushes. Okay, beautiful brushes, not. These are old brushes. Do not use beautiful brushes. Okay, you'll ruin your brush. Okay, this is a fairly crude technique. You've got to scrub a bit at the paint, you're going to ruin the brush. Use old brushes. If you haven't got old brushes, go and buy the cheap ones. Go to the art shop and you can actually get cheap ones that are actually fairly decent brushes. But just use decent brushes. Don't use decent brushes. You're gonna cry. Okay, what is really nice and what works well is a little chisel like this one. a little, you see that's a chisel shaped, a little one. Works exceptionally well. I've also got a big chisel that I'm going to use here. Okay, and then these are just ordinary brushes, maybe a small one. Okay, and even a tiny one if you want tiny dots. Okay, for any reason. So you're working on a smaller scale, tiny dots. The other thing you need to is artist's white spirit. Okay. John, have you started using it?
Okay.
No, okay. This is very cheap. Zelen is a local company. They make it. You can get it at any art shop. Any art shop will sell it to you, or P&A. Every P&A will do it. Huh? Builder's Warehouse in the art section. All these places will have it. Please go and buy yourself some. Doesn't matter if it's a local or the other. The reason you want this is because it does not attack plastic and paint. It's not as vicious. It's also fairly volatile. In other words, it's fairly thin. Okay. Right, so now we've got ourselves some oil paints. We've got ourselves some brushes. We've got a surface that we're going to do. I'm going to just demonstrate it a little bit on the surface here. Now, what is a good idea is, as I've done here, is I've actually put the decals on, right? And I've sealed over the decals. My mat has gone over the decals already. So, but the problem with the decal is look at that. I mean, it's brilliant white. You know, it's surf with super blue white. You know, the real thing, I promise you, was not like that. No, not for even the first day. You know, by the time someone scrambled up the side of that thing and with their dirty feet, it didn't look like that. So obviously we want to tone that down a bit. This technique will help you do it. Right. So we start off with colors which I think will go down well. I want to use a little bit of this yellow because that'll kind of lighten up my green. I want to use a bit of brown because that'll make it kind of a bit dirty. As I said, when you're using on the green, always add a touch of red. A touch of red works well. And just for variation and giggles, we're gonna use a touch of this light and very bright green. Then the way you work is you can do this two ways. You can do every color, then go back to the other colors, okay? Or else you can do dots of all the various colors and just carefully work them in.
Oh, you want a chair?
No. Why should I want a chair? I give you. Okay, so can we see over there what's happening? Okay, so there you've got to start first with the little dots, and I really mean little dots and random. Okay, they must be pretty random, these dots that you put on. Okay. So I'm just going to do these 1, 2, 3 panels. Okay. Right, tiny dots. Okay. Sorry. You can see kind of the size and the randomness of the dots. Okay. So, I mean, it looks really gross now. I mean, you kind of wonder, what is this guy up to? Okay. So, I try to keep the colors fairly separate and fairly pure. Okay. You're going to need a lot of this very exotic modeling tissue that comes, you know, very expensively, you know, and the wife moans if it runs out on a weekend because you've been making models. You know, that one. Okay. So we do a couple of these. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to go. Sorry, I just got to try and get it back where we can see.
Yeah.
Okay, and then just tiny dots that we're going to put in. Okay. So the dots don't have to be so precise. You just add a couple of dots there. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of red here too. Is that where you can see some red dots too? Okay. Right. I know you get nervous. You've just painted the thing. You've put all this nice stuff on, and now you're going to start putting oil paint dots. You can wash it all off again afterwards. Okay, and you can use this stuff. Okay. Right. Now the next bit is to grab your little wedge-shaped, what's it called? Chisel shaped brush. And then you take your areas here. Because most of the stuff's going to run vertically, work mostly vertically. Okay? Rub it in, like that. You see, it's just about gone. Did you see that go? Another one. Just about gone. As you see, you're going over the right over the decal. A little bit horizontally, then down a bit. Okay? Keep going, keep going, keep going. Can you see it actually changing the color and making the color appear slightly different? Over here, what's happened is, do you see that brown streak? Where? Let me try and get a better view of that brown streak. Whoops. Yeah, sorry. Towards the camera. Tilted upwards.
More this way and tilt up.
Okay. Oh, there we are. Okay. What's quite nice is that brown streak. You see that brown streak coming down there? Okay. That's actually starting to look like a bit of a watermark on a brown streak that's over there. On this other side over here, I've got a little bit too much green just above the trail. Okay, so we just take a little bit more brown, add it in, keep going, keep scrubbing away at it, and you see it basically starts changing. The other nice thing is, you see where we've gone over the decals, and you just go straight over the decals, you're starting to get some. Sorry, okay. Where we go over the decals, you're starting to get a weathering effect and a streaking effect over your decals. Right. At the moment, it's a little bit shiny. When oils dry, they become matter as they dry. Okay. You may not particularly like the effect even at this stage, but you've got to remember, you can go over it again with different colors. I haven't really got enough red in there. And in fact, you can use just a little bit more red. Okay, now I'm fudging things a little bit. Sorry, I'm working fast. Okay, and for instance here, where you're doing the steps, can you see what I'm... Oh, sorry. Once again, let me try again. This is not as easy as you think, guys. Where you're doing the steps there, you can see you can do a little rust trail coming down. See that? Okay, and it's very, very easy to do with oils. You just flick and bring it down. Okay. You can make it less by using your finger, taking it off. Okay, if you don't like the effect, this is where your thinners comes in. You simply get a brush. Rather use a bigger brush. And if you don't like your particular effect, then you can just take this. I don't like that particular, this one here. And you can just take it away with it, and you'll find that it will just go away. Isn't that marvelous? Just keep going, keep scrubbing. You might be left with just a little bit of trace of the paint, but it'll just help the whole effect along. Okay.
You can modulate it with the actual thinners, with the actual...
You can modulate it with the thinners as well. Okay. So you keep going. I haven't really gone long enough here. But you can see it's developing. I'm getting all kinds of different and interesting colors coming out. This is great for a vertical surface. What do you do on a horizontal surface? Say now you're working on a horizontal surface, like, let me try and work out something here that'll work. Something like that, okay? Now, this is a horizontal surface, so you're obviously not going to get the streaking effect. So what do you do there? So once again, you get hold of your colors, and you do same kind of thing. Sorry. I will find it. I will get there. Okay, the same kind of thing, and you put dots on wherever. Okay. On these surfaces, it's quite a good idea to use a fairly darker brown. Okay, here I've got a nice darker brown, because the brown gives you the impression that someone has been walking on it, or dark yellow, or one of those colors, and you can simply spray over it and blend all the colors in together to give you a kind of a more uniform effect, if that's what you want. But even though, when you do that, you're still going to get all these different colors slowly but surely coming through, and it's going to give you an effect that things are not uniform, you haven't got this kind of total overall green effect.